All right, welcome back. Today we are doing our rear bumper kit. So I got it cut. So you receive the mail box that looks like that. Inside that box we'll have some sheet metal. I think it's only the one piece. Should only be the one piece. It looks like that. I'm gonna get this unwrapped off of there, and we're gonna start putting this one together. This one you actually have to have the vehicle for. So this is my rear bumper kit. These ones are ready to go. So this is my. I just like all the other bumpers I built my prototype. I drew it in CAD, and I got CAD files. I sent them to a cutter. They cut them for me, and I drop ship them to customers. So, but email me, links in the description for a price on this. Comment if you like this. I love the look of this bumper. It's really cool. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and start putting this together. Let's get this out of the box, and we'll go from there. I got a couple other pieces over here that were in a box previously. I've had this thing for like 2 months and just haven't taken the time to put it together. All right, we got that all unpackaged. So one of the things to pay attention to is on your big piece of steel, you have a corner that looks like this, and you have a corner that looks like this. So the rectangle cut out, it goes on the driver's side. It goes right like this. The other one goes on the passenger side, right like this. All right, so what else you'll find in your kit are these little tabs here. There's 4 of them. There's a little ear tab, and I'll show you where these go later. And you've got 2 of these fun looking pieces. These are going to be your outside corners. They'll go out here. Actually, I had that wrong. They'll go out here like that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take that main front piece, and we're going to get it bent. So you take your bumper cover off, don't lose any of the bolts, and take the inner steel bumper off. And then these little ears right here, you're going to use your bumper cover bolts to bolt those back on. They're going to actually go in the same holes right up underneath your door seal here, your lip. It won't work with the body lift because it mounts to both the body and the frame. You'd have to modify it to work with a body lift, and I'm not going to do that. So these little ear tabs here, you take your shoulder bolts, little Phillips headed shoulder bolts that were in the bumper cover at the top. Take those and you'll screw them back in there. So I'll show you more on that in a little bit. All right, so we got our piece bent, more or less. You want to make sure you bend it the correct direction. That's why I explained which end goes where, and you'll have to look at it and think about it, make sure you're bending everything the right direction. I don't have a good way to bend this, that's why I didn't really show you the process. I did end up actually scoring the majority of the little tabs because I just got sick of fighting it. I left the ones in the ends whole and the one in the middle whole. So I got the top bent down. It may have to bend a little bit more. I'll have to adjust that as I go. And I got the bottom lip bent. So you got 2 holes, one here and one here. They're gonna bolt on right down here and right down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take and bolt this in there, and I'm gonna see if I have to adjust it. I'll probably have to go on and off 3 or 4 times to make sure I get all my angles right. The other way you can get your angles close is take a level. I got a magnetic level I stick on there, and then I've got one of these framing speed squares, and I stick it on here. You want to take your pivot point right here so it's flush with the bottom of the level, and your angle should measure, it should be at about 5 degrees on there. So I probably have to bend this just a little bit more. If you look at my setup there, you can see that. So the bottom of this is flush with the bottom of this level. And I look across here, and it's saying about 7 degrees. I'm gonna bend it down just a little bit more to get me to that 5 degrees that I'm looking for. That's probably enough. So I got that bent again there. Let's check it. And I'm probably a little too far, but we're gonna go with this. We're gonna check it on the car and see how it fits. This one down here, if I remember right, is about a 45 degree angle, which with one of these is a lot easier. If you can figure out how to put your square on there. And I'm not figuring it out. There we go. And go to the inside or something like that. I've got that one pretty close to a 45. That's where we're gonna start. So I'm gonna start putting this on the car. I'll move you guys closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, something to note though, the little tabs I was telling you about, I got those bolted in. There, 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 there. So I used the same bolts that you used for the bumper cover. Those little shoulder bolts, I bolted those back in there. You want those in there right now. So, and then once those are in, take the bumper cover like this, and we slide it in here. Now, what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna end up tack welding that little tab onto here. But first, we're gonna get this thing lined up down on the bottom. Get my old bumper out of the way. Okay, so I do apologize for the bad lighting. But first off, you're gonna take your bolt and you're gonna put it in the bottom down here. Get a hole there, hole on your thing here. Line her up. You get your bolt started. All right, we're gonna actually go ahead and run these bolts in tight on the bottom down here. Bolts on the bottom, we're going to run in tight. And then this was bent just a touch too far. We're going to bend it up. See, what we're looking for here is you're looking, see I got a gap right there. I got a gap there. So what I got to do is I got to push this in. When I tightened those bolts, it actually bent it a little bit. So I'm going to work this just a little bit. What I want it to do is I want it to be tight up underneath these shims here, so it's not hitting on the body. I'm probably gonna take it off, bend it back a little bit, and put it back on. Over bent it, so just cut it back. I'm gonna pull it back just a touch. Because with where that's at, it's easier to push it down than to push it up. So, back just a touch, and we're gonna go back on. All right, so you see here how I bent it up? It's up too far. I'm gonna push that down. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna kind of work it back and forth to get it down underneath those little tabs. That one went right underneath, like that. That one's right there. That one's underneath. All right, we are there. So if you look in here, we're perfectly flush right there at the bottom of that tab. That tab, that tab, that tab. So those things, all right. So we're flush there. I'm gonna take the welder and I'm gonna go ahead and actually tack weld those tabs to here. And then I'm also gonna go, because that sets my angles on that bend. I'm going to tack weld those on. I'm going to go through here and I'm actually going to put a few more tack welds along this seam here and a couple in here so it won't move. To lock it in place before we start trying to form our corner. So, well, let's get it tack welded together. Well, I'm still trying to get my welder set up right because this is the first time running it on gas. I've always run it on flux core before, so my welds aren't the greatest. But I got the tabs. Don't critique my welds, they're terrible. So we got tabs welded in here. Tabs welded in. There, there, and there, and there. I got a few tacks put on there. I got a few tacks put on there. Giant booger hole right there. I have to fix that. Anyway, next we're gonna start wrapping the corners. See how this goes. So these things always take a lot. They take a lot of work. So I might end up actually scoring a lot of those cuts so the bends are a lot easier. You don't want to score them too far because if it comes off completely, it's really hard to do. Because when I was doing my prototype bumper, it was all separate pieces. It was a lot of work. But if you can leave them together, leave them attached, but you can score them a little bit, it'll help quite a bit. So we're gonna go work on that. All right, we got all the little things, the scores made. I scored them on you want to score them on the outside, not the inside, because it bends a little easier. So, well, as far as this one goes, it's really just a matter of working it and fitting it. I'm gonna start getting some preliminary bends put in it, and then I'll probably end up tack welding it on right there, and then continue the bends. But this is a lot of work just to work the bends. So I'm gonna use a pair of channel lock pliers and then start going at it just a little at a time. If you overbend, you gotta bend it back, and it's not a lot of fun doing that. You want to try to keep them straight as you bend. Don't bend too much. So the nice thing about the cuts like this is these lines will actually end up lining up pretty good if you have them bent right. So you can guess it a lot. So see how my lines are parallel right there? That one ought to be pretty close. This one here, always a pain, but we're gonna bend that one down like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and take this bottom one, bending it up here like this. See that? So it's lined up there. I got my bend there. Now this one here, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna bend it down this way. So you can start seeing it take shape like that, all hand bend. Little score marks make it a lot easier to bend. And then that is supposed to fit on there. Okay, so I got it to fit. First time I put it on there, it didn't look like it was going to fit. It looked like it was way off, but I ended up having to drop it down and it looks better. So here's where it is, here's where it sits. So I got a couple tack welds in the top, a couple tack welds down the face. That one sits down there like that. You come around here, that one bends up like that. And I got a little more gap here than I had on my prototype bumper. But some of the issues I was having with my prototype bumper is that right here, it would actually rub the body. So I move that down just a little bit. It's got a little more gap in there than I don't know, than I really like. But not much I can do about it, because if I move it up, it'll get into my door right here. So I want to keep it out of the door, out of the light. So it actually wraps around, looks pretty good. Just from a view from back here, it actually looks pretty good. So I'm gonna work on this side now. So I'll show you when I get that done, but it's really just a matter of, you know, scoring those bends. That was a major help. And then just working it. Work it till it fits like you want it to fit. One thing you do notice that is right in here, this corner sticks forward. There. This corner here sticks forward from here a little bit. So if you don't like the way that looks, take a grinder and nick it off. And I do have a little tiny piece that goes up here in this corner here. So we'll put those in a little bit. So those are little pieces in your kit. Oh, where are they? They look like that. So anyway, I'll keep working on it. So we got this other corner put together, put on there. Turned out all right. So there it is. So there's, like the other side, you got about the same gap here. You know, it's not too much. It's a little more than your stock bumper, but it kind of keeps it from rattling and stuff. And so one thing you'll notice right here is, like, these angles right here, that gap, it didn't turn out perfect. Same thing on the other side. And that's about where we're at. Then I got to finish weld everything and everything else. So again, if you're interested in ordering one, my email address is in the description. Shoot me an email and we'll get you set up with one. This one's for 80, this tracker's a 90. I don't know if the rear bumpers, if they changed them from 89 to 98. The front bumpers, I know they changed a little bit of that. Rear bumpers, I don't know. So I'm guessing 89 to 94, they're all fit. I'll have to verify 95 to 98. So I haven't been able to verify those. So 2 doors, I don't know about 4 doors. I don't have a 4-door, so I can't verify with it. So anyway, hit me up if you want to order one. Comment below what you think of this, what you think of the look of it. So let me know. We're gonna get it pulled off and we're gonna get it finished, weld, paint, primer, everything, make it look good. All right, so I got the bumper most of the way welded together. And the next thing we're gonna work on are these little corner PC dealy whoppers thingies here. So this is what they're supposed to look like when they're on. All right, so you got the angle that goes here. You got the angle here, and then you got this little piece right here. We're gonna take, and I bent it, took a pair of pliers and I bent it up to get that. All right, we got her all welded together now. That's what she looks like. So we're gonna take the grinder and I'm gonna knock all the welds off of it, make it all look pretty. My preferred method of doing this is it's a polisher, 7-inch. It says 7-inch rotary polisher from Harbor Freight with a 36 grit paper on it. Turn that sucker up, and it only runs 3,500 RPM. Yeah, so it only runs like 3,500 RPMs, but it takes that metal off in a hurry. So that's my favorite way to clean these things up. So I'm gonna go clean this whole thing up, and then I don't think I have enough paint to actually paint it. I think I have enough primer though. So I'll probably get a coat of primer on it and then leave it. So this is the kit, and that's how you put it together. So thanks for watching. Have a great one.